Hey guys, it's Psychosis here, and today I have another book review for you guys. And this is on a book that I've been wanting for many years, and I finally said screw it, and I finally bought it and I read it. I'm so glad I did. And that is On the Cosmic Mystery of Jesus Christ by St Maximus the Confessor. And yeah, like I said, I've wanted this book for many years, and I finally picked it up, and it was relatively cheap for what I thought it should be. And yeah, and as you can see, starting off with, the cover is lovely. I love this blue cover of the book. It's very fun. And also, the craziest part of this book is this book feels like it should be longer because it's dense, full of information, but it is only 176 pages long. It's a very small book. But yeah. And anyways, to actually get in the review, yes, there's a lot of information in this book. And this is a very information-packed book. This is not a fictional book. This is a Christian theological book written by St Maximus the Confessor. And each chapter is a blurb from his writings, or a section or segment from his writings. And he goes into depth with like Christian concepts like baptism. He talks about theosis a little bit. There's a part where he uses literal reason to deduce that Christ has two natures, which is the Orthodox position on that matter, and it's just brilliant. I will say that this is a brilliant book, and you can already tell with my smile and by saying that I like this book. And yes, I could sing the praises of this book. This just short and sweet thoughts on that. But yeah, it is like I said, it is a very smart book. It's a very smart book. St. Max the Confessor was definitely a genius, especially compared to in today's world and even probably during his time. Very brilliant man. And yeah. And so yeah, that's basically the gist of the book. It's his segments of his writings, and it's like really good. And there's also mentions Bible verses as well. He connects his explanations to the Bible, and he explains stuff for the Bible as well. There's a few chapters, for example, where someone asks him a question about a specific Bible verse, and he goes extremely into depth explaining what the verse means, and in ways that you probably never even thought yourself or heard like an actual pastor or other person describe that verse with. And it's like very big brained. And then another example, at the beginning, one of the earlier chapters of this book, he literally describes this theological concept, and he describes it in the way with like the wordage of similar to Newton's first law of motion. And this guy lived long before Newton was even born. So he definitely was well ahead compared to a lot of people. And then he also mentions other people as well. Like he does mention St. Gregory Palamas as well, who is also brilliant. I should also read more of him. And if you don't know who that is, he was also a saint, since the name St. Gregory Palamas. But he wrote a lot on theology. And he's basically the Orthodox Christian equivalent of St. Thomas Aquinas, our equivalent to him. Also an absolutely brilliant guy. And he references his writing, especially more in the beginning, to help explain his points. And that to also explain that his reasoning is similar to Palamas's. And yeah, it's just absolutely wonderful. But it's one of those books, I will say, kind of what to knock at some points though. It's a very advanced book. This is not a casual, easy read, like, oh, I'm going to pick this book up and read it in a night or two or in a few hours. No. This is a book that you have to soak up and read slowly because it's very information packed, like I said. It's very, very big brained in a lot of concepts, talks a lot of metaphysics stuff. And yeah. So this is not a book you just casually pick up and read. This isn't one of my usual fantasy sci-fi reads that I read. Because you know me, I like reading those types of books. But this is a theological book. It's just straight philosophy, theology, Christian concepts. There's no fun little speediness to it. It's just the dry, raw, uncut, straightforward information about it. And it's very good in my opinion. I really like that. I could say, like I said, I could sing the praises of this book That's just the short and sweet answer, like I've mentioned before. And it's just about his. This is only segments of his writings. He did lots of writings before he was brutally tortured and killed in his day. Because yeah, he didn't die naturally, unfortunately. But yeah, this guy was absolutely heavy hitter in the Christian world, in my opinion. And I don't see a lot of people talk about him very much because normally not even people talk about Saint Gregory Palamas much either. But like, he should be mentioned a lot. And yeah, as I mentioned, but I digress. Anyways, he also mentions the Bible, like I said. He mentions Bible verses. And another thing I loved a lot about this book is he a few times mentions and references my favorite Bible verse in the entire Bible. And that made me so happy because it's one that like isn't shared or shown as much compared to like verses like John 3:16, which are everywhere or which aren't used properly, since that's a verse that needs to also include John 3:17 and 3:18 to fully explain it all. They just throw the 3:16 part on. But yeah, this book is just great. Yeah. If you are an Orthodox Christian though and you haven't read this book, I would definitely recommend it for you, of course. This guy is definitely seems to be an essential, and especially for me, I'm gonna have to read more of his writings. But from the get go, my first impressions of from just this book, guy was absolutely brilliant and ahead of other people in his time, even compared to our time. Like most people these days don't have the level of intelligence that this guy clearly has. And yeah, like I said, I'm gonna just glaze this book all day and just say, brilliant, brilliant, brilliant. I love this book. I'm just glad I bought it. But like I said, this book is a very difficult read. It's not a casual book you pick up. And there's probably a lot of other more theological, Orthodox Christian, or just Christian writings in general that are a lot easier to pick up and read first. Yeah. This is not this is not a book for anybody who's a performative Christian either. Like, it's a legit theological book, and if you don't wait to read this and you just read ahead, or you don't take the time to read it, you will get nothing out of this book. And it's just words on a page. Like, you have to read this book slowly to fully understand. And yeah, and also I'm not sure if I mentioned it, but the final sentence of this book is amazing. It ties everything back together, and it's just so good. They placed it perfectly. The person who compiled these writings or segments of his writings together to make this book, it's just so good. It's like so perfectly placed. Like, I loved it. Some people probably wouldn't get much out of that, but for me, when I read that last sentence, when I got to the final page, I was like, oh, yes, and I finished the book. It was so good. I was so happy. And yeah, that's basically the gist of what I could say. This book is just really brilliant. St Maximus the Confessor was a very brilliant man, and it sucks that he tragically died of unnatural causes, because he was very smart. And he probably made people mad, because there's also a section of this book where he critiques a heresy in the church and just absolutely destroys the other position, in my opinion. Just like completely charbroils it to the point where it's like, why did you even believe that in the first place? But yeah, it's just a very good book. And I also will say the intro is very long. The first 50 pages of this book is an introduction, which is basically just a summarization of what you're going to read in this book. And that's also kind of the person who compiled this together's writings, and that's the only writing that he did. Besides the indexes, there's little index notes on the pages further explaining stuff, or little segments. and stuff. And then, yeah, at the end, there's like a glossary of the Bible verses used and other things, and references the other writings that are referenced in the index notes. And yeah, I don't read these books a lot, but this was a very good, these like more non-fiction or theological books or non-fantasy sci-fi books. But this was a very good one. I absolutely love this book. I'm gonna have to read more of St Maximus the Confessor for sure, and I'm gonna have to actually read St Gregory Palamas. I understand his concepts and his writings, but I've never actually read them for myself. So I should definitely do that, and have people look at me weird because I'm reading a book about the energy versus essence distinction, or something like that. But yeah, just absolutely brilliant book. If I could, this book is I could give this book like a 10 out of 10, 11 out of 10. It is an absolutely brilliant book. Definitely now among my favorite books that I've ever read. But unfortunately, I'll just have to cut it down to a 9.5 out of 10 only because of its difficulty, of its reading level, and the fact that I'm certain that the demographic of people that would read this book is not the demographic that should end up reading it. I'm honestly not the person that should be reading it or should have read it early. I should have read some other writings first, so I wouldn't have taken as long to read it or comprehend it. But wow, this book is so good. I am so glad that I finally bought it and I said screw it and I sent it and I got it for myself. And I didn't get cold feet buying it. I just sent it and I bought it. And yeah, it is now definitely among my favorite books. And I will definitely have to read St. Maximus the Confessor more, and also St. Gregory Palamas and other Orthodox writers or theologians. But yeah, absolutely brilliant book. I absolutely love this. 9.5 out of 10. But in my subjective personal opinion, this is like a 10 out of 10, 11 out of 10. But for like a more objective rating, it's a 9.5. And yeah, that was my review for the Cosmic Mystery of Jesus Christ by St. Maximus the Confessor. Like I said, a great book, absolutely spectacular book, mind you. Great doesn't cover that, well, at least what I thought of it. And yeah, that was my review for on the Cosmic Mystery of Jesus Christ by St. Maximus the Confessor. I hope you guys enjoyed it, and I will see you all next time when I do a book review, or I actually sit down and I finally do an album review or some other music related thing. Because it's not feeling like all my channel is just a booktube channel, but it's not. I'm just really into reading now. Or trying to get back into reading stuff that I read when I was younger, reading stuff that I'm new to, trying not to get too caught up in FOMO, but that's hard when you have people like power reading books and making you feel bad because you haven't read the same level of amount of books that they have. But yeah, that was my review, guys. I hope you all enjoyed it, and I will see you all next time. Goodbye.